Blessings, yo. This is the continuation of the thought from the previous live, right? Welcome back to Life's Place. Yo, the egotistical friend that has to keep everything for themselves, that must keep everything for themselves. You know, the little kid, the cousin that was never picked, but no, not never picked, but picked last. You know, the cousin that told on everybody because nobody picked them to play and shit, or the one that just couldn't run up the steps fast enough. So now they was tagged to be it, and they ain't really want to be it because they had already had their hiding place already up, and it wasn't fair that somebody tagged them because they wasn't supposed to trip up the steps if somebody was running faster, but they didn't want to tie their shoes when everybody told them to tie their shoes, and they was going to trip, but they didn't want to hear it because they could run fast, and the shoelaces was just going to fly with them and shit. They was never going to trip. That cousin, the one that never want to take the blame for the bullshit that they caused, right? The one that robbed everybody in front of their face, but since they family, since they that type of friend, who cares? They ain't gonna rob me. Nah, they ain't gonna do that. Nah. We known each other for so long and this and that and everything else. They wouldn't do that to me, even though they probably do and did. But because everybody enabled the cousin never to cry, don't tell nobody, even though, bless you, even though they ain't the one that got themselves in trouble and you told them to fucking tie their shoes, tie their shoelaces so they don't trip and scratch their face. But you also told them not to sit up there and drink that extra juice because you're gonna get a cramp, when we playing and shit like that. But they didn't want to listen to you because they knew better, right? And they still know better, even though they sitting there cramping, crying, and their shoelaces is still fucked up and their ankle is broke because they tried to run up the steps, and now they mad because they it and they don't want to run and nobody, they don't want to play no more. Now they ready to tell on everybody. They don't want to mess up everybody's snacks because they ain't get the fucking purple gummy in their bag and shit. They got mad. So now they gotta make everybody fucking pay for it and shit. Now they robbing everybody. But they the ones that want to make sure that everybody see them as the good cousin, the best cousin. The one that's always bringing the best pies and shit. Always got the liquor, always got the best parties. But they always throwing the best parties off of everybody back. The one that always tell everybody, yo, come meet up over here. We got this going on. And then that's when they unfold all the sadness in their life. They just need to drain the energy of everybody, yo. And that's the way that they do it. That's the way that they get paid. That's the one that want to do all the crooked shit to everybody, but they want to stay up and hold that face. They are the richest. They are the ones that they got the wealth. They are the one that got all the resources. They got all of it, but they taking it from everybody. They the ones that they beefing out in the background. They the ones that's always coming with the jokes, telling on everybody, but it was a crack, because of the fact it's the lonely cousin that nobody ever really played with, and nobody even called. And the only way that they motherfucking get calls is if they call and everybody tell everybody because of the fact that they always want to blame everybody for their problems. They want to sit up there and let nobody take account. They don't never want to take accountability for the fact that they ain't tie their shoelaces from when they was 7, when they was supposed to be tying their shoelaces and shit. They still carried this grudge, yo. So now everybody that remind them of whoever that was playing that fucking game with them, they all in trouble. The one that broke their heart at 12, yo, they everybody looked like they fucking fucked them. Yo, fuck all those women. I don't care about them. Yo, see, they look like them. She said no to me when I was 15. Fuck that. Fuck that bitch, yo. And I'm gonna tell everybody to stay with them. That's that type of energy. Yo. It's the same thing as the fucking jealous woman. When she was 15, when she was in high school, somebody sat up there and said something to her, and she got mad. So now everybody got to get mad at the whoever said to her. It's the one that the one that want to let her go, but she just can't let go because she has her own insecurities, and that person wants to grow. Nope. She's gonna try to tear the. We all know. We all been man. We all been there. The one that want to cut themselves because they don't want you to go. The one that wants to commit suicide because they don't want to see you leave. The one that will take you to court to try to take your children away from you because they don't want you to go. The one that will gather all their family to say that you're a hoe. That one. The one that never really loved themselves, therefore they couldn't even love you, but are forcing you to be something that you're not, all because they refuse to take accountability as to who they are and who they've been. That one. The one that really, wants you to stay around those that, because they are family, because they are everybody's friend, even though they try to destroy you. This is titles and positions of everyone that you had trust, respect, and loyalty for. It could be your mom, your dad, your cousin, your uncle, your sister, your brother, your best friend from back then, your coworkers, your associates, anybody that's close to you that you know whispered under their breath, fuck you, you know, that actually whispered to the next person, you ain't going nowhere, and let it spread to the point that you know what, your energy has been fluctuating. Your energy has been going places. You never understood why the doors closed. You never understood why the energy changed. You never understood why people turn their faces. You know, it's all because of the fact that somebody started it off with one thing or another to keep whatever was owed to you away from you. But it's that one friend, that one family member that made sure that they were always invited to every table that you wasn't, you know, but made sure that your name stayed alive so that everybody could chop it up under a joke, you know, or under a remember when, or under that memory type of bank type of shit, you know, where they're always going to be praised. They're always going to eat and they're always going to get the Christmas gifts type of shit. You know, it could be the damn, this is bad, you know, because we all ran into a jealous mom. We all ran into a jealous dad where nobody is better than them. You know, you can't get nobody unless they approve. You can't go nowhere unless they say yes, no matter the age, yo. This is the weirdest part because I've ran into a few where they don't let their own children live. You know, it's the auntie too that will brainwash the children. Yo, tell your mom, you know, in your head, your mom is fuck you instead of growing with. It's the weirdest, but it happens, yo. All because they want to benefit more so than you on what is owed to you. They always want to put you in a bad light just so that they can sit in at tables that you are no longer invited to, all because they sat at the chair that you were supposed to, you know, that you were deserving to sit at. Or they're the ones reading your mail, all because it's the letters for you, you know, and they're the ones that'll burn it just because it is for you. But it was something that's deserving of you. You know, people do the weirdest of shit all because they want to be the one spoken in rooms before you. So they will speak your name. Crazy ass shit. They will speak your name in the ill intent of trying to defame you, but in turn defame themselves by showing themselves. Damn. Note the most I got you. Have a good one. Bye. Or they show themselves by smelling themselves, and eventually people will smell them too. They show themselves to the point that people will see through them too. So their conversations will consistently repeat, rewind as to who they are actually to the people that they try to sell you off to. They're the very same ones. You got to be careful as to who you talk to because they're the very same ones that you speak some good works about your business, and they'll be the ones to try to file some papers under you to try to make it seem like that y'all working together. And they just waiting for you to act up and react to the fucking abuse just so that they can sue you and say that you know what, you've been copied. Ain't this a motherfucker? You's a fucked up individual and bored. A bored ass motherfucker that tried to plan out the life just so that you could turn back to them because they can't even turn to themselves. Ain't this a bitch? Whew, that is a story unfolding if it ain't one at all. And anyways, yo, if y'all can get that note, the most I got you. Have a good one. Bye. Yo, you was a